Welcome, dear traveler. Tonight, you do not need to go far. There is a small chapel nearby. Ancient, humble, its candles have been burning for hours. Its stones have been holding silence for centuries. And tonight, that silence is yours. If these stories bring you peace, please subscribe to my channel. New medieval sleep stories arrive each week to help you rest, to help you let go, to carry you gently into sleep. Thank you for being here. Now settle. Let your body grow heavy against whatever holds it. Let your hands rest open. Let your jaw loosen. Let your shoulders drop. You are safe here, completely. Begin to notice your breath, not changing it, just noticing. In and out, faithful and quiet. Breathe in slowly. Let the air fill you completely. Breathe out slowly. Let everything else go. In, the chapel candles are already burning. Out, the silence is already waiting. In, you are already welcome. Out, you are already home. Your thoughts may still be moving. Let them drift like candle smoke, like the sound of a distant bell fading into the night. You do not need to follow them tonight. Dear traveler, there is nothing required of you in this place. Only arrive. Only breathe. Only rest. Breathe in. The door is just ahead. Breathe out. The candlelight is waiting. Let us begin. Quietly, gently, together. The night is still, deeply still. The kind of stillness that only comes in the very late hours when the world is finally finished with the day and set it down. The village has been asleep for some time now. The last candle in the last cottage window went dark an hour ago. The last door closed. The last voice fell quiet. And since then, only this. Only the night. Only the silence. Only the stars burning steadily in the vast sky above. The path beneath your feet is made of old stone. Cobblestones worn smooth and uneven by centuries of feet. They are cool through the soles of your shoes. Solid, ancient. Each one fitted carefully into place by hands long gone. Hands that understood that a good path is a gift to everyone who will ever walk it, known and unknown, present and future. These stones have been here longer than anyone living can remember. They will be here long after. They ask nothing. They simply hold. The village around you is a collection of shapes in the darkness. Thatched rooftops against the sky. Timber frames and plaster walls. Small gardens behind low stone walls. Everything sleeping. Everything still. A cat sits on a doorstep and watches you pass without concern. Its eyes catch the moonlight for a moment. Then it looks away, uninterested. The night belongs to it, and it knows this. The moon is high, not full but generous. It lights the cobblestones with a pale silver wash that makes everything seem slightly unreal, slightly dreamlike, as if the village and the path and the night sky above are all part of something larger than ordinary life, something older, something that has been happening in one form or another since the first. People built the first fires and looked up at these same stars and felt the same quiet that you feel now. The stars are extraordinary tonight. There are so many of them. more than the eye can count, more than the mind can hold. They fill the sky from one edge to the other in a thick river of light, scattered and clustered, near and impossibly far, each one burning, each one ancient, each one indifferent to the smallness of everything below, and yet somehow, in that very indifference, deeply comforting. The sky does not need anything from you. It asks nothing. It only shines. The air is cool, clean. It carries the smell of earth and stone, and somewhere, very faintly, the ghost of wood smoke from fires long since banked for the night. You breathe it in, and it is like breathing in the night itself, like taking the stillness inside you where it settles gently and begins its quiet work. Ahead, at the far end of the cobblestone path, where the village gives way to a small rise in the ground, something glows. It is not the moon. It is not a star. It is warmer than both, more intimate, more contained. It comes from windows, narrow arched windows set into old stone walls. The light within them is amber and gold, and it flickers very slightly. Candlelight, many candles, burning together in the darkness, creating something that the darkness cannot touch, a warmth that the night surrounds but cannot enter. The chapel. It sits on its small rise as if it has grown there, as if the hill itself decided to become a building at some point in the distant past, and simply chose the form of a chapel because that was the most honest shape available. The stone walls are the same gray as the surrounding rock, thick, low, built not for grandeur, but for permanence, for endurance, for the keeping of something safe inside through all weather and all seasons and all the long years that accumulate around very old things. A wooden door stands at the entrance, arched, dark with age, iron fittings black and handmade. The door is not fully closed. A narrow gap shows at its edge, and through that gap, more of the warm candlelight spills out onto the stone steps leading up to it. 3 steps, worn hollow in the middle by the feet of everyone who has ever climbed them, which is to say, by the feet of nearly everyone who has ever lived in this village across all the generations it has existed. Above the door, a stone cross is mounted into the wall, simple, plain, weathered by wind and rain and the slow, patient work of time. Ivy grows across the lower walls of the chapel, reaching upward toward the cross, as if drawn to it. The leaves are dark and still in the windless night air. They hold small drops of moisture from the evening that catch the moonlight when you look at them closely. You have reached the steps. Dear traveler, pause here for just a moment before entering. Look back at the village behind you. Look at the sleeping rooftops and the dark windows and the silver cobblestones winding between the quiet buildings. Look at the sky above it all, at the stars, at the moon, at the vast and peaceful dark that holds everything in its quiet hands. This is the world tonight, and it is peaceful, and it is whole, and nothing in it requires your attention right now. Nothing in it needs anything from you. You can set it down, all of it, right here on these worn stone steps. You can leave it outside when you enter. The step beneath your foot is cold through your shoe, solid, the second step the same. The third brings you level with the door. The gap between door and frame is just wide enough to see through. Just wide enough to feel the warmth of the interior air pressing outward against the cool night. The smell reaches you before anything else. Candle wax, old stone, something sweeter beneath both. Incense, perhaps, long burned away, but still present in the air, the way certain things remain even after their source has gone. You push the door gently. The hinges do not creak. They are old but well kept. The door swings inward slowly, silently, opening the chapel to you as if it has been waiting precisely for this moment. As if the whole long night has been building toward exactly this opening, exactly this arrival. The interior reveals itself gradually as the door swings wider. First, the nearest pew, dark wood, worn smooth, uneven gray flagstones worn by the same centuries of feet that wore the steps outside. Then the candles, and there are so many candles, in iron holders mounted on the walls, in clusters on the stone windowsills, in tall iron stands placed at intervals along the central aisle. On the altar at the far end, dozens of flames, perhaps more, each one small alone. Together, they fill the chapel with a light that is warm and gentle and alive, a living light, moving slightly, breathing almost, as if the flames themselves are at rest, but not quite still, the way a sleeping person breathes, slow, deep, present. The walls are stone, the same gray stone as the exterior, but here inside, warmed by the candlelight, they seem less gray, more amber, more gold. The light touches every surface and softens it, the rough texture of the mortar between the stones, the carved stone of the pillars that support the low vaulted ceiling above, the ceiling itself disappearing into gentle shadow where the candlelight does not quite reach, creating a darkness overhead that is not threatening but restful. A darkness that feels like the space above a canopy of trees, protective, enclosing, safe. The wooden pews run in 2 rows the length of the chapel, 6 on each side, simple, without decoration, built for sitting, for kneeling, for the long and patient work of being still. The wood of the nearest pew is so worn and smooth, it seems almost polished. How many hands have rested on it? How many people have slid along its length to find their place? How many hours of silence have been kept in these seats over all the long years this chapel has stood? The chapel is empty of people. Only you, only the candles. Only the stone and the wood, and the silence and the warm, amber air that smells of wax and age, and something that has no name, but that lives in the bones of very old sacred places. A quality of peace, accumulated, layered, built up over centuries like the wax that has built up on every surface, near a candle, slow, patient, inevitable. Dear traveler, you are inside now. The night is behind you. The cool air and the stars and the silver cobblestones are outside, where they will remain. Here there is only warmth, only candlelight, only this old chapel holding its peace the way it has always held it, faithfully, without effort. For anyone who comes, move forward now, down the central aisle, toward the nearest pew. Your footsteps are quiet on the old stone floor. The candlelight moves with you, shifts slightly as you pass, and from somewhere deeper in the night, barely audible, like something half imagined, the faintest sound begins to reach you. Soft, low, human voices, chanting, far away but present. A thread of sound so gentle, it might be the chapel itself breathing. You have arrived. Now it is time to sit. The pew receives you without sound, simply accepts your weight the way old wood always does, without complaint, without adjustment. It has held so many before you, and it holds you now with the same quiet patience it has always offered. The wood is smooth beneath your hands, cool at first, then warming where your palms rest against it, taking on your temperature, becoming familiar. You are seated now. Still, the chapel stretches before you. The altar at the far end glows with the most candles. 7 tall ones arranged across its stone surface in iron candlesticks, burning with a calm and deliberate certainty that makes them seem less like fire and more like small gathered lights that have chosen this place as their home, as if they have always been here, as if they will always be here, long after this night is done. The silence is the first thing you truly hear. That seems like a strange thing to say. That silence can be heard. But in a place this old and this still, silence has a quality, a texture. It is not the absence of sound so much as the presence of something that sound has been removed from. Like a room after music has finished playing. The music is gone, but its shape remains in the air for a little while. This chapel has been holding silence for so long that the silence itself has become substantial, real, something you can feel as well as hear. Then beneath the silence, the candles, they have a sound, barely there, the faintest whisper of flame, a soft and constant breathing of fire that is so quiet you can only hear it when everything else has gone completely still, which it has, which it is. You sit and you listen, and gradually the sound of the candles finds you, finds its way through the quiet and settles beside you like something gentle and wanted to be close. And beneath even that, the chanting, still there, still distant, moving together through a melody so old it seems to have been worn smooth by time, the way the stone steps outside have been worn smooth by feet. No sharp edges, no sudden movements. Only this slow and ancient turning of notes that rise and fall and rise again with the unhurried certainty of tides, of seasons, of things that have been happening for so long they have become part of the nature of the world itself. You do not know where the chanting comes from deeper in the building perhaps, from a room beyond a door you have not yet seen, or perhaps from outside, from somewhere across the night, a monastery in the valley, its sound traveling through the still air and finding the chapel windows and slipping through the old glass to reach you here. It does not matter where it comes from. It matters only that it is here, that it continues, that it requires nothing of you except the willingness to let it pass through you like warmth, like light, like breath. Dear traveler, let your hands rest now in your lap. Let your spine soften against the back of the pew. Feel the wood behind you, solid, present, holding you gently upright without any effort from you at all. You do not need to hold yourself. The pew is doing that. The chapel is doing that. The old stones and the thick walls and the centuries of accumulated peace are doing that. Everything here is designed to hold, to shelter, to allow rest within its walls. You are permitted to simply be held. The candlelight moves across the stone walls in slow patterns, not random, almost deliberate, as if the flames are having a conversation in a language made of light and shadow. The walls respond, the gray stone darkening and brightening as each flame shifts, the texture of the mortar between the stones becoming visible and retreating. Each breath of the fire revealing something new in the ancient surface. Small imperfections in the stone, the mark of a chisel from centuries ago, the faint trace of something carved and worn too smooth to read. The wall holds all of it, all of its history, all of its silence, all of its years, and it shares none of it and all of it simultaneously. Simply by being here, simply by enduring. The ribbed arches are visible where they meet the walls, their stone pale and carved with simple decorations, leaves, crosses, geometric patterns that repeat with the patience of things made by hand over long hours. But above the springing of the arches, the ceiling fades. The candlelight does not reach it. And that darkness above is not empty. It feels full, heavy with all the prayers and silences and long still hours that have risen toward it across the centuries. Like smoke, like breath, like everything that has ever been released in this room and floated upward and been kept. The smell of the chapel settles around you more completely now that you are still. Candle wax is the most present thing, warm and slightly sweet. The smell of a flame doing its work, of wax becoming light. Beneath it the cold mineral smell of the stone itself, ancient, clean, the smell of the earth pressed and shaped and laid in courses and standing. For so long it has forgotten it was ever not a building. And beneath even that something softer, older, the ghost of incense burned across so many years that it has entered the stone itself, has become part of what the chapel is made of. You breathe it in without thinking, and it reaches somewhere deep, somewhere that is not quite the body and not quite the mind, but lives in the space between them. And it says something without words. It says this place is safe. This place has always been safe. This place was built for exactly this, for the keeping of peace, for the sheltering of those who come seeking rest. The chanting continues, rises and falls, rises and falls. It is doing something to your breathing without asking permission. Your breath is beginning to follow it, slowing to its pace, deepening to its rhythm, in on the rise of the melody, out on the fall, natural, inevitable, as if your body recognized this rhythm before your mind had even noticed it, as if something in you remembered this, as if you have sat in a candlelit chapel listening to distant chanting before, in another time, in another life, in a dream you cannot quite remember, but that left something good behind when it faded. A single candle on the windowsill to your left gutters suddenly, flickers, almost goes out, then steadies, returns to its calm, upright flame, as if it considered leaving and decided to stay. The moment of almost darkness passes, and the warm light returns to that corner of the chapel, as if it had never wavered, as if the small crisis never happened. The flame burns on, patient, faithful, uncommitted to anything except this, except continuing, except giving its quiet light to this quiet place for as long as it is able. Your body is heavier now than when you sat down. That is the only way to describe it. A pleasant heaviness that begins in the shoulders and works its way down, through the back, into the hips, into the legs. The pew holds it all. The wood warm now where your hands have been resting. Your jaw is loose. Your eyes, if you have been keeping them open, are growing heavy with the effort of it. The candlelight does not demand to be looked at. It only offers itself, and your eyes can rest. Dear traveler, you have found your place, this pew, this stillness, this candlelit air, and the distant sound of ancient voices. Let it hold you now, the way it has held so many others before you, across the long years of this chapel's life. You are not the first to come here seeking peace. You will not be the last. But tonight you are the one who is here, and that is enough. You are enough. This moment is enough. This silence is enough. The chanting continues its slow and endless turning. The candles burn. The stone holds everything in its ancient arms, of sacred spaces keeping their faithful watch through the long and peaceful hours of the night. There is something else here now, something you have not noticed yet, a warmth that does not come entirely from the candles, something that lives in the stone itself, in the floor beneath your feet, rising slowly, like the memory of all the warmth that has ever been held in this room across all the centuries it has stood. It is reaching for you now, gently, patiently, beginning to surround you completely. The warmth is real. It is not your imagination. It is not the candles alone, though the candles contribute. It is something older than that, something that lives in the fabric of the building itself, in the stone floor beneath your feet, in the thick walls on every side. Stone holds heat the way few other things do, slowly, deeply, giving it back even more slowly, over hours, over the whole long course of a night. This chapel has been absorbing warmth for centuries. Every candle ever burned within these walls, every body ever seated in these pews, every breath ever released in prayer or rest or simple quiet sitting, all of it taken in by the stone and held, and now given back, gently, without asking anything in return. You can feel it through the soles of your feet where they rest against the flagstone floor, rising, slow and certain, moving up through your legs with the patience of something that has all the time it needs, which it does. The night is long. The chapel is in no hurry. Your hands rest in your lap. They are warm now, warmer than when you entered. The air around them warm, the wood of the pew warm where your legs press against it. Everything in contact with you is giving you its warmth freely, as if the chapel has decided you need it, as if it recognized something in you when you entered and made a quiet decision to take care of you tonight. The candles on the altar burn lower than when you first arrived. Not by much, but enough to notice. The wax has moved, melted slowly downward over the course of the night, and hardened again in new formations around the base of each candlestick, ivory and cream colored, catching the light of the flames above them and glowing softly. Each formation unique, each one the record of this particular night, of these particular hours of burning. They will harden completely before morning and remain exactly as they are until the next time someone lights these candles and the warmth begins again. The smell of the wax is stronger now, warmer, richer. The heat of so many flames together has filled the chapel air with it completely. It is the smell of this place in the way that certain smells become inseparable from certain places. The way you can close your eyes and be returned somewhere simply by encountering a smell that belongs to it. This smell belongs here, to this chapel, to this night, to this particular quality of peace that exists in very old sacred spaces when the hour is late and the candles are burning and everything outside is still. Beneath the wax, the incense, deeper now, more present, as if the warmth has released it from where it has been sleeping in the stone, as if the heat of the candles and the heat of your presence here has woken something ancient in the walls, and it is breathing it out slowly, an offering, a welcome, something that says without words that this place knows you are here and is glad of it. The chanting has changed slightly, or perhaps you have changed in relation to it. It seems closer than before, not louder, more inside you than outside, as if it has been gradually moving from the air around you into the air within you, into your breathing, into the slow rhythm your body has settled into without being asked. You are not listening to the chanting anymore, so much as you are moving with it, carried by it, the way a small boat is carried by a current, without effort, without steering, simply going where the water goes. The voices are low and steady. They do not hurry. They have never hurried. This melody is so old it existed before hurry was invented, before the world discovered that time could be divided and parceled and rushed through. This melody remembers when time was simply what happened between one breath and the next, between one sunrise and the next, between the lighting of candles in the evening and their burning down in the small hours of the morning. It remembers that time, and it moves through it at that pace, at the pace of very old things that know exactly what they are. Dear traveler, feel your breath now. Notice how it has slowed, how each inhale takes longer than it did when you first sat down, how each exhale releases more completely. The body knows what it needs. When it is given permission and peace and warmth, and a rhythm to follow it, moves toward rest as naturally as water moves downhill. You have given it all of those things tonight, and it is responding, gratefully, completely. Your shoulders have dropped. You may not have noticed when it happened, but they are lower now than they were. The muscles across the back of your neck have released something they have been holding since morning, perhaps since longer than morning, perhaps since yesterday, perhaps for longer than that. That releasing is not dramatic. It is quiet, almost secret. A small giving way in the body that opens something larger. That creates a space. That allows something in. The candlelight on the wall to your right is doing something beautiful. The flame nearest the wall is casting the shadow of its own candlestick across the stone. A long dark shape that flickers and shifts as the flame moves, but very slowly. The shadow never moves quickly. Only this gentle, constant variation. A breathing of darkness against the warm lit stone. You watch it without deciding to watch it. Your eyes simply rest there, on the slow movement of shadow, on the warm surface of the ancient wall, on the way the light and the dark negotiate with each other in this small space, neither winning, neither losing, simply existing together in the way that light and dark have always existed together, as partners, as necessities, as two parts of the same whole. The stone floor beneath your feet is telling you something through its warmth, something simple, something that does not need words. It is saying that it has held so many people in exactly this way, in exactly this quality of late-night stillness. People who came carrying things they needed to set down, worries, griefs, the accumulated weight of days that had asked too much. People who came and sat and breathed, and let the candlelight work on them slowly until what they were carrying was lighter, until they could stand again and go back out into the night, feeling something they had not felt when they arrived, something that has no better name than peace, simple, plain, sufficient. The chapel has given that to all of them, across all the years, across all the candles burned and replaced and burned again. And it is giving it to you now, in exactly the same way, with exactly the same patience, with exactly the same absence of judgment or expectation. You do not need to have earned this. You do not need to deserve it. You only need to be here, which you are. The chanting rises slightly, just for a moment. A phrase in the melody that reaches a little higher than the others before descending again into the lower register where it lives. Like a breath taken more deeply than usual. Like the chest expanding fully once before settling back into its gentle rhythm. Then it returns, lower, slower, more continuous. A river finding its deepest channel and flowing there without deviation. Your eyelids are heavier now. The warmth has reached your face. Your cheeks are warm. The skin across your forehead has softened. Even your thoughts have changed their quality. They were words before, sentences, things with beginnings and middles and ends. Now they are more like the shadows on the wall, slow moving, without sharp edges, coming and going without insisting on being followed. The incense in the air, the wax, the cold mineral breath of the stone beneath all of it. You breathe it in together, and it is like breathing in the whole history of this place. Everyone who has ever sat here, every silence ever kept, every candle ever burned through to its end. You are part of that now. You are being headed to it. Your presence here tonight, becoming part of what this chapel holds in its walls, in its air, in the slow and faithful memory of very old stone. Dear traveler, you are deeply warm now, deeply still. The pew holds you. The chapel holds you. The night holds the chapel, and the stars hold the night, and everything is held within everything else in a great, patient nesting that goes all the way out to the edges of the sky and perhaps beyond. Nothing is falling. Nothing is lost. Everything that needs to be kept is being kept. The candles burn lower still, their light no less warm, no less faithful, simply quieter, the way all faithful things grow quieter as the night deepens, the way breathing grows quieter, the way the mind grows quieter, the way everything that is truly at peace grows quieter until the quiet itself becomes the most present and beautiful thing in the room. Soon you will move. Not far, only a little further into the chapel, into the deeper warmth and the deeper stillness that waits ahead. The candles have been burning for a long time now. You can see it in them, in the way the wax has traveled, moved slowly downward over the hours, and gathered at the base of each candlestick in soft organic shapes. In the way the flames are smaller than they were, not weaker, not struggling, having settled into their truest and most honest burning now that the unnecessary parts of the flame have been given up. What remains is essential, pure, a small steady light that has decided exactly what it is and burns that way without variation, without apology, without any need to be more than it is. This is what the deep hours of the night do to everything. They reduce things to their essence. The noise of the day falls away. The performance of the day falls away. The effort of the day falls away. What remains when all of that is gone is the real thing, the true thing, the thing that was always there beneath everything else, waiting patiently for the quiet to come so it could finally be itself without interruption. The chapel is that real thing tonight, and you, sitting in this pew, in this warmth, in this candlelit stillness, are beginning to be your real thing too. Your breathing is very slow now, each inhale long and deep and unhurried, each exhale complete, total, releasing everything down to the last small reserve of breath before the next one comes. There is a pause between them, a small still space that exists between the out-breath and the in-breath, where everything stops, where even the body seems to wait. That pause is growing slightly longer each time, not alarmingly, naturally, the way all things slow when they are truly at rest, when they no longer need to hurry toward anything. The chanting continues. It has not stopped once since you first heard it. Through all the time you have been sitting here, it has continued its slow and faithful turning, rising and falling, moving through its ancient phrases with the certainty of something that has been doing this for so long it no longer requires any thought, any effort. It has become like the breathing of the building itself, like the natural sound of this place in the deep night hours. You cannot now imagine the chapel without it. It belongs here the way the stone belongs here, the way the candlelight belongs here, the way the silence belongs here. All of it together, all of it one thing. The flames are reflected in the old glass of the nearest window, small points of amber light floating in the dark glass, each one a ghost of the real flame, slightly blurred by the imperfections in the old glass, slightly trembling, more beautiful for being imperfect. The window holds the reflections, and the darkness behind the glass holds the window. And beyond the glass, the night continues its own faithful work of being still and vast and full of stars. You cannot see the stars from where you sit, but you know they are there. You saw them on the path coming here. You know they are still burning above the chapel roof, above the stone cross on the wall above the door, above the thatched rooftops of the sleeping village, above the fields and the forest and the hills that rise on every side of this quiet valley. The stars do not rest. They burn through the whole night without interruption. And somehow that knowledge is itself restful. That something is keeping watch. That something vast and faithful and ancient is present in the sky above all of this, asking nothing, offering everything. The warmth in the chapel has deepened. It is no longer something you notice. It has become the condition of the air itself, the temperature of everything around you. The warmth is simply what the chapel is now, what the night inside this building is. You have been absorbed into it completely, and it into you, and the distinction between the warmth of the room and the warmth of your own body has grown unclear. Pleasant, whole. Dear traveler, your body is very heavy now. Heavy in the way that only true rest makes the body heavy. Not the heavy of exhaustion, not the heavy of burden, the heavy of complete release, of every muscle having finally let go of its last held tension, of the body remembering what it is like to need nothing, to hold nothing, to be simply weight and warmth and breath in a warm and quiet room. Your hands in your lap have gone still. They are not gripping anything. They are not preparing for anything. They lie open, loose, warm, the hands of someone who has set everything down. The stone pillar to your left catches the candlelight along one edge, a thin line of amber running up its length from floor to the point where it meets the arch above. The rest of the pillar in soft shadow, the line of light does not move. It is the steadiest thing in the room, a fixed point, something the eye can rest on without effort, without following, without needing to understand, just light on stone, just the simplest and most ancient combination of things, warmth and matter, existing together in the deep of the night. The chanting is slowed, or perhaps your perception of it has slowed. Perhaps the two things are the same. Time itself moving differently in this hour, not faster, not slower, simply less divided, less parceled. The minutes not announcing themselves as they pass, simply passing, simply accumulating into the night the way the melted wax accumulates at the base of each candle, quietly, without drama, without marking the moment of each addition. A sound reaches you from somewhere outside, faint, brief, an owl, one call, then silence. The silence after it more complete than the silence before it, as if the owl's call has drawn a boundary around the quiet and made it more definite, more real. The chapel receives the silence after the owl the way it receives everything, without comment, without alteration, simply holding it, simply being the place where it can exist undisturbed. The incense is very present now, deeper in the nose than before, It has had all night to settle into everything, into the air, into your clothing, into your hair, into the breath itself. You are breathing it without noticing you are breathing it. It has become part of breathing, part of being here, part of what this night is made of. The 7 candles upon it, burning in their slow and faithful way. The stone surface of the altar between them, catching the light and giving it back softly. The wooden cross on the wall behind, casting a long shadow upward toward the ceiling. Everything at the altar still, fixed, the way things at the center of something hold still while everything around them breathes and moves. It is the still point of this room, the place everything else is arranged around, and it asks nothing of you. It only shines. Your eyes are not fully open now. They do not need to be. The chapel does not require your eyes. It only requires your presence, your breathing. The pew beneath you, the stone floor beneath your feet, the warm air on your face, the smell of wax and incense and old stone, the chanting low and continuous and ancient, the candles burning, the stillness deepening, all of it coming together now into something that is no longer a collection of separate things, but one single experience, one single condition, the condition of being completely at rest in a place that was made for rest. That has been making rest possible for longer than memory reaches. Your thoughts are very quiet. When they come slowly, without urgency. They do not demand to be followed or resolved or answered. They arrive, they pass. They go wherever thoughts go when the mind finally stops chasing them. When the mind remembers that it too can rest, that it too is allowed this. Dear traveler, you are almost there. Almost at the place that has no name, but that the body knows. That the mind moves toward in the deep hours of every night when everything is finally right. When the warmth is sufficient, and the quiet is complete, and the breathing is slow enough, and there is nothing left to hold on to. You are almost there. A few more slow breaths. A few more moments of this candlelit peace. A few more turns of the ancient melody in the air around you. Everything exactly as it needs to be in this deep and faithful hour. The candles burn lower still, their light warm and unwavering. The chanting turns, and somewhere beneath all of it something very quiet is beginning, something the body recognizes before the mind does, something that comes only when everything else has finally become still enough to allow it. Sleep is very close now. Just at the edge of this last quiet moment before everything softens completely into the deepest rest. Sleep is here, not coming, here, already present in the room with you, in the warm air, in the slow turning of the candlelight, in the deep and faithful silence between one breath and the next. It has been here for some time, waiting, patient, the way sleep always waits when everything else has finally been set down, when the body has nothing left to hold, when the mind has nothing left to chase, when the room is warm and the light is soft, and the ancient voices in the air are singing something so old it reaches the part of you that existed before words. Sleep has been waiting for exactly this. And this is exactly now. Your breathing is very slow. Each inhale barely noticeable, each exhale a long and complete release. The pause between them longer than before, deeper, a small still country between one breath and the next where everything rests. Very low, the flames smaller than at any point in the night, but still burning, still giving their warm amber light to the chapel without reservation, without complaint. This is what they were made for, this last patient burning in the deep hours, this faithful presence when everything else has gone quiet, the wax nearly spent, the light no less real for that, no less warm, no less sufficient. The stone walls hold everything. The floor holds everything. The vaulted ceiling above holds the darkness, and the darkness holds the prayers and the silences of centuries, and all of it holds you. Nested within nested, contained within contained, safe within safe. There is no edge to fall from here. No drop, only depth. Coming home to something the body has always known and always returned to. Every night, every life. The chanting is very soft now. Or you are very deep. Both things may be true. The voices continue their ancient turning, but they have moved further inside you than outside you. They are in your breathing now, in the slow rhythm of your chest, in the quiet of your hands in your lap. You are not listening to them anymore. You are made of them. They are the sound of your own rest, the sound of your own giving way. Dear traveler, this is the moment. In this old chapel that has been holding its peace faithfully through every hour of this long and quiet night, this is the moment everything releases. Simply because the body knows. Simply because rest has been patient long enough, and you have been ready long enough, and now the two things meet. Let your eyes close completely if they have not already. Let the candlelight become something felt rather than seen. Warmth on the skin, amber behind the eyelids, the soft flickering of it reaching you even through closed eyes, even through the deepening dark behind them. The light does not disappear when you close your eyes. It simply changes, becomes interior, becomes part of the warmth that fills you from the inside, the same way the chapel warmth fills you from the outside. Two warmths meeting, the same softness, the same peace. The smell of the wax, old and sweet. The cold mineral breath of the stone, ancient and clean. The ghost of incense sleeping in the walls. All of it still present. All of it still surrounding you. Even with your eyes closed, the chapel is completely real. Completely here. The pew beneath you solid and warm. The floor under your feet steady and certain. The walls on every side holding their faithful watch. The roof above keeping out the night. The stone cross above the door, keeping its long and patient vigil. Nothing has changed. Nothing needs to change. Everything is exactly as it should be in this chapel, in this hour, in this breath. The chanting turns, rises, falls, continues. Your body is so heavy now, so warm, so completely released from everything it was holding. The shoulders that carried the day, the jaw that clenched through the difficult hours, the hands that gripped and worked and reached and held, all of it open now, all of it loose. All of it returned to its most natural state, which is rest, which has always been rest, the body's most honest condition, the one it returns to every night, the one it was always moving toward, beneath all the activity and all the effort and all the long hours of the day. The mind is quiet, not empty, quiet. There is a difference. Empty would be an absence. This is a presence, the presence of stillness, of a mind that has finally stopped moving long enough to feel what it is like to simply be, to exist without agenda, without problem, without the next thing and the thing after that. Just this, just now, just the warm dark behind closed eyes and the slow breath and the chapel holding everything in its ancient arms. Thoughts come, soft ones, without edges. They do not ask to be followed. They drift across the quiet of the mind, the way the candle smoke drifts across the chapel. Air, rising, thinning, disappearing, gone before you could have named them, gone before they became anything requiring a response. Just movement, just the last small activity of a mind releasing itself into the deep. Then less of that, then quieter still, the chanting, low and continuous and ancient and kind. Your breath, slow and deep and faithful and warm. The chapel, solid and old and still and holding. The candles, burning low and amber and patient and real. Dear traveler, you have done everything asked of you tonight. You walked the path through the quiet village. You climbed the worn stone steps. You pushed open the ancient door. You found your place in the warm candlelit stillness. You sat. You breathed. You let the chapel work its patient work upon you. You let the chanting find the rhythm of your breathing and slow it, deepen it, carry it toward this, toward here, toward this breath. This giving way, you have guarded nothing tonight, held nothing, carried nothing. You came with open hands, and you have kept them open, and the chapel has filled them with the only thing it has ever had to give. Peace, simple, plain, sufficient, the peace of very old stone in the deep night. The peace of candles burning faithfully toward their end. The peace of voices singing something so old it belongs to the world itself. The peace of a body that has finally remembered what it is for, what it has always been for. This, rest. This, sleep. The candles burn. The chanting turns. The stone holds. The night continues its faithful work outside. Stars burning above the chapel roof, above the sleeping village, above the fields and the hills and the dark forests. All of it held in the vast and patient sky. All of it safe. All of it exactly as it is. Exactly as it needs to be. And you, here, in this pew, in this warmth, you are held, you are warm, you are here. One last slow gathering of the candlelit air, the warmth of centuries, the breath of the chapel itself. Breathe out everything, every last thing the day gave you that was not yours to keep. Every last held tension and unfinished thought and small unnamed worry. All of it leaving on this breath, all of it dissolving into the chapel air, where it will be held harmlessly until morning when it will be nothing at all. The chanting, the warmth, this breath, this warmth. This old chapel keeping its faithful watch through the last long hours of the night while you rest within its walls, while the candles burn toward their end, while the stars turn slowly overhead, while the village sleeps and the fields sleep and the hills sleep and the whole quiet world rests in the deep and faithful arms of the night. Rest now. You are home. You are held. Sleep now. Good night.